In Portland, in Oregon, there was a very bizarre situation that just proves that, again, capitalism, folks, no good. Capitalism is the system of governance that says, I understand you're hungry, but I would rather throw this perfectly good food in a dumpster and let it rot than allow you to feed yourself and your family. Capitalism is the system that says, if you can't pay, you starve. So, here we have a Twitter thread from Juniper L. Simonis on Twitter. When I arrived at the Hollywood at Fred Meyer in Portland this evening, I was greeted by 12 Portland police officers who are apparently guarding 2 dumpsters full of food that mutual aid organizations were trying to distribute and hungry folks were trying to eat. So as you can see, here's some photographs. The officers were upset at my documenting them loafing and my asking for their names, IDs, and cards, and went to retrieve a store manager to tell me that I wasn't welcome and now would be considered trespassing. That's right, the cops got a manager. So again, First Amendment, where are all the right-wingers at? Where's Ted Cruz? Right? Where's Donald Trump going out there? Where's, the Michael Van Der Veen, right, going out there? This is a free speech issue. This journalist's free speech is being suppressed. Where's the freedom of the press? I guess it's nowhere. Not wanting to get arrested for standing in a parking lot taking pictures of cops who won't give me their ID numbers guarding private property to avoid people from eating, I moved my car and set up across the street. But by that time, 5 minutes later, they had all left. And a brave soul ventured in to retrieve some strawberry lemonade, won't expire until March. So again, now, in my opinion, strawberry lemonade, it's not useful for anybody almost. But at the same time, the idea that they're going to try to throw away things that are perfectly healthy, right? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now that the coast was clear, I ventured over and finally got to look inside. This is the green dumpster, which was maybe 1/3 or so full when I first looked in. As you can see, there's just all kinds of foodstuffs. A lot of it being open as a way to spoil it quicker. And I was like, okay, that's a lot of food. But I was not prepared for what I saw in the orange dumpster. This is the orange dumpster. It was basically full. As you can see, here's this image here. Mostly meat. Now, I'm not a meat eater, but hey, people need to eat. People need to feed their families, so that's my thing. After not too long, the folks pulling food realized it would be helpful to open the doors, which from the looks of it did help quite a lot. And yes, those are boxes of frozen beef in the green dumpster. So as you can see, again, a significant amount. Enough food to probably feed this entire town, right? And they just wanted to throw it away and let it expire. Because again, capitalism is the system of governance that tells you, hey, you can't give me $10? Die, bitch. That's the system that we live under. Perhaps my favorite moment was when someone spotted a tiramisu and lifted it, exalting, let them eat cake. As we can see here, great photograph, love to see it. It was not all cake and coffee creamers, but honestly, what the fuck, Coffee Mate lasts forever. Here's at Team Raccoon PDX showing off a nice veggie platter, and I spotted a bunch of bags of peas and beans. Many a healthy option for the diet-conscious freegan. So as you can see here, again, this is all perfectly nutritious, perfectly edible, but they wanted to throw it away. Because again, capitalism is the system that says, let's spend tens of thousands of dollars to have police barricades rather than spend those tens of thousands of dollars feeding the homeless, feeding the poor. It's better in capitalism to waste tens of thousands of dollars killing the poor than to give that money to the poor so that they can feed themselves. And the meat, so much meat. Think of all the people hungry in warming shelters that would have loved some beef or a shrimp cocktail or a side of salmon. It is a white legacy to strip the water of salmon and throw it away with no thought for the fish or the people, as you can see. Now again, I'm not a meat eater, but people gotta eat, right? Ugh, it looks kind of disgusting, to be honest with you. and so many Portland staples like almond milk and tofu. Here we go. Both which I think would survive a day without a fridge, but what do I know? I'm just a vegetarian who brings food from home when they travel, when we used to travel, lol, sobs. Right? Oh yeah, did I mention lobster tails? Because they just tossed lobster tails. Who throws away lobster tails? Heathens, that's who. I love the commentary of this thread, by the way. And the beverages. Why? Because they were cleaning everything out, I guess. Anything in the fridge, even if it was only a display fridge of non-perishables. Saddened and cold, we headed home, leaving a solid crew of folks working through what appears to be an endless supply of food. Stay tuned for updates. But that's it for now. Remember, folks, capitalism wants this to happen. The managers were laughing. The cops smiling. Again, capitalism is the system of governance that says, we will spend tens of thousands of dollars killing you instead of using those resources to help you. Right, so let's read how the Oregon Live writes about this subject. Roughly a dozen Portland police officers faced off with a small group of Northeast Portland Fred Mayer at a Northeast Portland Fred Mayer on is that like the name of the store, I guess? On Tuesday after people tried to take the food that had been thrown away. Workers at the Hollywood West Fred Mayer, I guess it is, threw away thousands of perishable items because the store, like many others, had lost power in an outage brought on by the region's winter storm. Images on social media showed mountains of packaged meat, cheese, and juice, as well as whole turkeys and racks of ribs that had been tossed into two large dumpsters near the store. Right? A few people gathered about 2:30 p.m. at the store in hopes of salvaging the food, but within hours, people seeking food from the dumpsters began to report police officers showing up to guard the dumpsters to prevent people from taking the items. Morgan McKinnoff, a prominent activist and outspoken Portland police critic who lives in the neighborhood, said employees were guarding the dumpsters when they showed up to get some of the discarded food. McNiff, there you go, that makes sense, began to film the employees, and reported staff members threatened to call the police on them for doing so. The store manager called police shortly thereafter, McNiff said, and McNiff began live streaming the interaction on Instagram. After that, other people started showing up and asking them, why are you guys guarding a dumpster? McNiff said. McNiff said about 15 people eventually gathered in an attempt to collect food. At one point, McNiff said a dozen officers arrived at the scene. One officer wasn't wearing a mask and refused to put one on until a supervisor arrived and brought him one, according to McNiff. On Wednesday, Portland police said officers were sent to the scene after employees said they felt the situation was escalating and feared there may be physical confrontation. Why are the poors trying to eat? I just want to watch them starve and take pictures of them like they're zoo animals. Why do they need to eat? Please send an officer, please. The poor people want to eat food. I think these people should be put on trial, personally. But hey, that's just my opinion. Also on Wednesday, a Fred Mayer spokesman responded to what had become a deluge of criticism, noting the company donates more than 5 million pounds of food annually. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? And this is the problem with charity. Charity, philanthropy, it's all a Ponzi scheme. It's to make these people look like, oh yeah, look, we're charitable. We give away millions of food, pounds of food. Sure, that's why it's okay when we let people starve right now. Because we gave other people food at some other point? Maybe. And I don't know if you want to have fun tracking that information to see if it's accurate. But again, philanthropy is a scam. It's a scam. Unfortunately, due to the loss of power at the store, some perishable food was no longer safe for donation to local hunger relief agencies. Bitch motherfucker, it was cold. I guarantee you it was probably below 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Outside. So if the refrigeration unit is 45 degrees Fahrenheit and outside it's like, let's say 37 degrees Fahrenheit, you're telling me the shit is spoiling? Really? Okay. Our store team became concerned that area residents would consume the food and risk foodborne illness, and they engaged local law enforcement out of an abundance of caution. We apologize for this confusion. I think whoever wrote that statement needs to be put on trial. That's my opinion. Juniper Simonis, a well-known activist and researcher who arrived to document the police presence, said officers showed up and threatened those on hand with arrest, at which point the crowd moved across the street. Simonis, also an environmental biologist and data scientist, said they took out their press badge and went closer to take photos of the officers who were standing in front of the bins full of food. I'm just interacting with officers and trying to get their information, and they say, "We're going to arrest you if you don't leave," and threatened me with trespassing, Simonis said. Simonis was bewildered by the threat of arrest. I was documenting the police, not what was in the dumpster, they said. I wasn't going over there, and the police got the store manager to threaten me with trespassing. For their part, police said they tried to explain to the group that the food was spoiled, but no subject in the crowd was willing to have an open dialogue with the officers and continued to shout insults at them and store employees. Hey, what's worse, dying of starvation or being insulted? Oh! Why? Why are they so mean to me? I just want to kill them and their family. Why are they so rude? Ridiculous. But anyway, you can read the rest of this article yourself here. But an absolutely ludicrous situation. And again, capitalism is the system of governance that says, hey, fuck you, bitch, die in hell. I would rather spend money on killing you than give you food or a place to sleep at night. That's capitalism. That's capitalism. If you are still somehow supportive of capitalism after the last couple years of events, I'm sorry, but you're just a dumb motherfucker. You are a dumb motherfucker. There is no, you know, sorry? You are a stupid, dumb fuck bitch if you support capitalism in the year 2021. Abolish the police, as far as I'm concerned. They're useless.